wanted to give you guys like a dumb kind of dumb man's guide to Yair Rodriguez versus Alexander Volkanovski, the upcoming title bout, July 8th. UFC is put that one together with a beautiful card. Brandon Moreno, Alexandre Pantoja. You got Whitaker's on the card, Jalen Turner, all these guys. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be an awesome card. But I want to give you guys like a maybe I'll call this like a casual guide to Yair Rodriguez versus Alexander Volkanovski. Um, Maybe for the people who don't understand too well, right? So for people who don't really know Volk, Volk is a very good champion at featherweight currently. Volk has just coming off an appearance where he tried to go up a weight division and fight Islam Makhachev, to where he lost a very confrontational decision, right? He could have won, he could have lost, it could have went either way. It was very, very close, but nonetheless, Volk did just lose. Volk is what to be considered by many people the pound for pound number one over Islam, and that's what a lot of people are saying. Again, I don't know. Tit for tat, tomato tomato. They're both great fighters, but with Volkanovski, it's like everyone loves him. Why do people love Volkanovski? Because nothing this guy does is wrong. He works so hard. He brings in the best people he possibly could. Paul Craig, all these guys, and he gets them together, and he trains so hard. He's so lovable. He's very intact with his fans. And all this being said, he's a great fighter. Volk fights for the fans. He always makes fights exciting. There's not one fight you can go look back and not say it's exciting, right? Volk really started getting known. I would say really starting to get a little respected after the last Volkanovski match. I think, listen, I think he was, I'm sorry, after the last Holloway match. I don't know. Like, I think when you look at like the Brian Ortega fight, when he was also submitted twice by one of the mounted guillotines and the triangle choke, I think that's when people really started like getting on Volk. You could say either of the Max Holloway wins, but personally, Volk had fought Brian Ortega, who's one of the best submission artists in the UFC. Brian Ortega had him in this deathly tight guillotine, which is, when obviously he has it's like a head choke for people who don't know. It's a choke. And he, everyone thought this is where Volk taps, this is where his reign. No, Volk actually survived and ended up winning the fight. So it's like a lot of people love Volk's style and how he fights, right? That's kind of the thing with Alexander Volkanovski, and then he beat Max Holloway, who's many to be considered one of the featherweight goats. He beat Max Holloway, who a lot of people know, 3 times. One of them was very controversial, but 2 of them were one-sided beatdowns. Right? He beat Jose Aldo I think twice. I forget. I won it just twice. Right? So Volkanovski is that fighter that you look out for. He's great. He's phenomenal. And then you look on the other side, Yair Rodriguez. And personally, guys, I want to tell you as a casual, I think many are hyping up Yair. Yair is a phenomenal fighter, but I just think we're hyping up a little bit because it's a championship bout and we want new blood for Volkanovski. So I think it's important that we hype these fighters up. Yair is crafty. Yair is one of the best strikers in UFC. He's one of the most crafty strikers, one of the most dangerous fighters that anyone could fight, including Volkanovski, because Yair does these he's the exciting guys. For the casuals, he's the fighter that you want to see. It does these cool ass knees, these cartwheel kicks that you see in UFC that Max Holloway players do. Fuck you, but that's the kind of fighter Yair is. Yair Rodriguez is so exciting. He does these cool ass things, right? He fights the fighters you want to see him fight. Yair's coming off a win against Josh Emmett, where he captured the interim featherweight title, right? Because when Volkanovski goes up to lightweight, obviously the featherweight belt is like kind of obviously in limbo because there's no one there. So then someone becomes the interim, and then when Volkanovski finishes up his 155 attempt, he'll come down and they will unify the belt. It's unifying. It's who's going to be the undisputed, right? He's like, who's going to be the undisputed, and it needs to be figured out because he's still the champion, but there's also an interim, so they got to unify the belt. So they're coming down the fight, and you guys think about it. Look at the fight. I think most money is going to be on Volkanovski, and if I had to put my money somewhere, I'd also put Volkanovski. Like, I think Yair has a high chance of dropping Volk, dropping him in the second round, first round, because of how short he is and how he's a very good kicker. Like, Volk's an active kicker, but he's not like obviously anywhere like Yair. And the way to disrupt kickers, like to kind of throw kickers off their balance, is people who do hella kicks, right? Like, that's why when he fought, I forget who he fought, not Frankie Edgar, because Frankie Edgar was really good at grappling, but he fought somebody. Yair fought somebody that really like obviously threw off his kicking game, and like that's when Yair becomes a little bit different, right? So what we want to see from Volkanovski is kind of try to neutralize his kicks, keep your guard high. Like, obviously, he's short, so it's a little bit easier for Yair to kick him, right? So it's important that Alexander Volkanovski keeps a high guard, right? Keep a high guard. Really be unpredictable with your movements. He loves to do his combos where he comes in and quickly comes out. I think that's good. I think that's good for him because that'll neutralize the threat of the kick to where he could kind of step back or get away from those kicks and then neutralize them. So I think Volk, it's play. Obviously, Volk is going to be still play your game. Still box a little bit, but with Volk, it's like get the grappling, avoid the kicks, in and outs, right? Close the distance, keep distance, close the distance, and the distance, right? Like, just do what Volk does. Like, Volk doesn't have to fight much differently than he does other fights because how good he is at everything. For Yair, and again, guys, this is the casual guide. We're gonna have a breakdown, another breakdown soon, but for Yair Rodriguez, it's gonna be more so of a, kind of play it how you're fighting, a little like how you're doing with Max and how. But instead of the first 2 rounds, you starting off slow, I think it's really important to start off fast and conserve your energy. But for Yair, like, you start off fast, get your kicks working, get the rhythms, like hit the body, head, like start working your early rhythms so you can maybe catch Volk, right? Don't try to grapple. I would say keep the distance as much as you can. Utilize your body kicks, your leg kicks, kick his legs, and how you maybe have some success there. But I think it's for Yair, the way he wins this is don't make it a brawl. Right? Don't make it a brawl. Keep distance and work his body. Keep distance and work his legs. And when the opportunity comes, throw a good knee to the head, or, that's going to be open because he's short. So use the height advantage. I don't think he has a reach advantage, but use the height advantage. Use how quick you are and how much you can kind of create distance with your kicks and your body and your front body kicks and your clinching. Obviously, don't use your clinching, but keep your distance against Alexander, and you might have your best chance. Again, I think in the end, this could turn out to a fight where Alexander takes him down, grapples him, and ground and pound submission possibly. No, it's really hard to tell, but I think the smart pick is Alexander Volkanovski. But that's a casual guide, though. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Try to explain it in plain terms, maybe those who are kind of MMA or not MMA.